Now let's start our session. See, any programming language with UI combination with the database, any web application will have three components. You know, UI, business logic, and database. Everywhere else you will be writing the coding. UI HTML coding, business logic, some coding of related to any technology, database, queries and all. But while you work with Pega, it is not required to write any coding. When I say coding, it is UI coding, business logic coding, database queries. Nothing you have to write. Pega provides a form-based programming model. This is the point or statement we learn or discuss during our demo session. What is meant by form-based programming model? Form means user interface. Okay, I am going to log off from our application and log into some other application which I am teaching for other batches. Okay, let's say this is the application that I am trying to log in. I'm sorry. I think yours is the first batch for 8.7, right? So I cannot log into other application. I'm sorry. For 8.6 I have, but 8.7 yours is the first batch. Okay. And now I'll show you here itself in that case. See, when you are working with UI or business logic or database, you don't need to write any queries or business logic and all. Form-based programming model, what does it mean? See, in a programming language like Java or C# or VB, if you want to create a class, you need to write the syntaxes. Class, okay, like this. Let me show you. Class, name of the class, let's say insurance. Maybe if you want to make it abstract like that, you abstract inheritance and all you want to mention. Inherits from so and so other class, whatever it is, and open. And here, suppose Java means public static void main. .NET maybe something else. Okay. Inside this again you will be writing some business logic and all. Class itself you are creating it by writing your own coding where you follow some syntaxes and all. Same Pega, in Pega you can make it like form-based programming model. Right click on something in the UI, create sysadmin class. You don't need to bother about navigations. You need to understand only it is a form-based programming model. Means everything is a visual user interface on which you are navigating through. Okay, you need to remember this navigations. You need to understand the subject. Just wait. See, for me also 8.7 is loading very slow, but 8.6 loads faster because since only 1 week I started using this. For first 1.5 week it will be slow for many of you. Given your RAM is 8 or more, still it will be slow. 4 GB RAM means you have to upgrade. I am creating one more class. Let's say for example test. Class name is test in the pattern. Now test is going to be child of which class? Test is child of work class. In which inheritance? Pattern inheritance. Class type abstract or concrete. Versions and all you are not aware of, we will be learning. Direct to parent, you choose something, and that's it. It is more like form-based programming model. Form-based means everything you see here is user interface. Okay, so this is what Pega provides. Automation of development. Pega is an automation tool, but it is not automation tool like robotic process automation. Robotic process automation is all about tasks will be automated. Task means I want to process one Excel file. That is a task. Every month 30 files, there will be an Excel file placed in some hard disk path that has to be picked and processed for crediting salaries. It's a repeated task, right? Can I automate it or not? We can automate with manually. We are uploading today file. After you upload, click on process, then it will be processed. Why we need manual task? Every time I am doing the same. Automatically my system should pick the file from some place and process it automatically. This is called automation of work. Work automation tools are UiPath, robotic process automation, automation anywhere, Blue Prism. A number of hundreds of tools are there like this, but successful tools are these 4. Okay, like this, work automation is different, and development automation. Development automation means automatically your code will be generated. Code means UI coding, business logic coding, database coding will get generated in the background automatically. This is called automation of development. So Pega is an automation tool for what? Development. Everyone clear now what is automation of development and automation of task? Robotic process RPA tools are which tools? Automation tools. Automation tools are RPA tools are automation for task automation, work automation. Pega is an automation tool for development automation. Everyone clear now? Now it provides form-based programming model. Whatever I do here in the background, code will get generated. Okay, you don't need to see that code and you don't need to modify anything. You don't even need to bother about it at all. So this is the reason why Pega can be learned by anyone without any programming language knowledge. Okay, and even a 10th standard student also can learn Pega. But only one thing what I suggest is it is better you know basics of database and any one programming language. But even without knowing, I am teaching all the concepts to you. Database, when we go, I'll tell you basics of database, right? So for you it is okay. If you're already aware of, that will be an added advantage. Other than that, you can start learning now, there is no issue. Now, while we are going to practically work on, we are going to work on all these three, UI, business logic, as well as database. But the UI that you are going to work on, we start only with, okay, apart from these three, in a BPM, you have one more additional component. What is it? Process. All these three coordinatively works together with process. We are going to start working on focusing with UI, with process, business logic with process, database with process. This week and next week entirely, mostly up to next Wednesday or next Friday, we'll work on UI plus process. In between, we will learn about little bit of database. Once UI is done basic, then we'll jump on to database. I'll tell you one day. Then I'll tell you one day business logic. We integrate all these three and work together till end. Everyone clear? So we start with user interface development. We start with what? User interface development. Makes sense? Everyone clear? Even you are working with UI, you don't need to write HTML coding. It is again navigations, form-based programming model. See, what are we going to learn now to work with? That is, we are going to learn about how to create new UI forms. So we're going to learn about creating new UI forms. I'll open the document. This is our session today. See, before I proceed to tell you about all this, I have to give little bit of information which you are already aware of, many of you, but other people should be learning now. So this is the diagram which I am showing on the screen. Okay, I am going to explain you this diagram. Even if you do not see these sentences and all, I will tell you no problem. Okay, see, any web application, what did we discuss? It comprises of UI, business logic, and database. I am going to give you some information about how these three are going to coordinatively work together. This is universal, irrespective of Pega, Salesforce, or any programming language or anything. Someone was trying to ask something online. Facebook sign up. Okay, I am going to sign up for a Facebook. Let's say, for example, see, when you go to sign up for a Facebook, okay, I'm sorry, I'll go with this. Hold on. I'll have to log out in order to get the sign up form. It seems. Create a new account. Here you go. Sign up form is there. First name, last name, mobile number, new password, and whatever date of birth related, gender related details, and click on the button called sign up. See that this one what you are seeing here, sign up form, is a HTML form. It is a HTML form. See, normal users like us, okay, those who are not aware of anything, we can understand any business application only by user interface. If I directly display business logic to you, will you be able to understand as a common man? If I directly show you database table and ask you to insert or update or delete, will you be able to do that? It is not possible. So UI forms can be understandable to normal people. So in the UI form, HTML controls, these are called as controls. Control 1, control 2, control 3. This is text input. This is drop down. This is a radio button. Okay. Radio button means only one at a time you can select. This is a drop down. This is a drop down. This is a text input. So the data which you are going to input to any web application, you input by using HTML form where you have controls. Input the data in each individual control, and then you click on another control called button. Now see, the moment you click on sign up, this data what you have entered in UI will get stored in a physical storage that is called as database, and inside database tables will be there. It will get stored. Okay, it will get stored into physical somewhere in Facebook database will be there. I'll show you database later. Okay, there is a storage place called as database. It will get stored. Next time when I come here and try to register with same details, it says your account is there, which means that before it saves, it is verified. It will allow me to log in directly when I try to log in. Without registration, if you try to log in, is it going to allow? Every time when you try to log in or register, it will verify the table customer is available or not. Already new customer, it will store the data for registration. Existing customer, it will allow to log in. See, this is how the data that you are providing through UI, you want it to be permanently there with the respective vendor. Means it has to be stored into somewhere that is called as database. Make sense, everyone? Clear? Two layers I just given you idea about, UI layer and database. Now there is another one called business logic. Now the data you are going to submit through UI forms will be handed over to next level. Who will take this data? In order to store into database, data should be transferred from UI to database, right? Within this transfer process, there is something else called business logic. You imagine three persons are there. Person 1, person 2, person 3. Person 1 is UI, person 2 is business logic, person 3 database. When I am going to give some data to person 1, person 1 hand over the data to person 2. Person 2 will collect the data from person 1. Person 2 from there will transfer the data to person 3 where it will get stored. Understand? Like this, HTML content, whatever the data you provided, it will be handed over to business logic. Business logic will transfer the data to get stored into table. Understand? What is the interface now? In between UI and database, what is the interface? Business logic. Business logic is the interface. That BRE is also business logic, correct? Okay, just here in the web application development, I am telling. See, the data, I'm going to open that. Where is that document I have opened? Diagram somewhere. Okay, document, right? The data you submit in UI will be going through business logic, and in the business logic, it will be from the business logic, it will be handed over to database to store in. And now, how it will get stored in the database? There will be queries that will get generated. Queries will get generated, but we don't know about how to write queries and all. As of now, leave it. Okay, leave this concept. Now, in the UI, data is being held by controls. In the UI, who is going to hold the data? These are controls. HTML controls holds the data in the form. Understand? In the database, data will be held by tables. Data will be held by tables. In UI, HTML controls are holding. In database, tables are holding. Then what about business logic? Business logic also, there should be someone to hold, right? How you are going to hold anything? You have hand. Hand to hold, you are holding. Means as a person you have whole body, but out of which hand is the one to hold. As a business logic whole, there should be some component to hold the data. That is in general called as, many of you know. What is it?
Variable.
It is called as variable. Variable holds the data. Okay, now coming to UI. In order to hold, first name, one value, right? One attribute value. One value, one control is there. Second value, second control. Third value, third control. Fourth value, 100 values. How many controls? 100 controls. 100 values in database to store. I need one table, 100 cells. Cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4. I'll show you a database table. Hold on. This is a table. This is overall table. Okay, cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4, right? 4 cells holding how many values? 4 values. 4 controls will hold 4 values. 4 cells will hold 4 values. How many variables will hold 4 values? Generally by D, 4 values. I'm talking about only 4 values. 100 values means 100 controls, 100 cells. How many variables will hold 100 values? 100
100
variables.
variables.
4 values, 4 variables. 1 value, 1 variable. 1 variable holds. By default, I'm talking about. There are variables which will hold 100 values, 1 variable possible. Leave it. We don't go extension and all. By default, generally, 1 variable holds 1 value. 10 controls are there in UI. 10 values you enter. 10 values will be picked by, held by 10 variables in business logic. These 10 variables will pass the data to database table. In 10 cells, it will get stored. Everyone able to understand? Everyone clear? This
Yeah,
is universal. Anywhere, wherever you go, Pega, Salesforce, Java, .NET, CVB, anything. Now, coming to the point, a variable is going to hold a value in the business logic. See, variable one will take the value of this particular control. I have 10 variables. Out of 10 variables, which variable takes the value of this control? Which variable takes? How does the system knows? 10 variables are there, 10 control. Which 10 variables takes which 10 controls data? That is, I'll show you now. Okay, I'll show you one form. Just by, don't bother about navigations. Only focus on concept. Navigations you will be learning soon. Just let it get loaded. It will be slow for next 7 days, as I told you, but later it will become speed up. Even for my RAM is 12 GB. Still I am finding it is little slow. This is I'll tell you about this rule and all after some time, but we are trying to learn the concept of this controls. And I have added a control in Pega. You will drag and drop. In other technologies you might, it might be ready. At runtime, this is design time. At runtime, when I input a value here, that should be held by one variable, right? Which variable? Look at here. At the design time itself, I am going to ఎవరన్నా మీ స్మార్ట్ ఫోన్ తో అక్కడి నుంచి ఒక ఫోటో తీసుకోరా. One good photo, take it from that. Okay, now you see here, I'll tell you property, right? As of now you remember, like, this is variable. Okay, variable. What is a variable? Some variable. It can be anything. Okay, some variable. At runtime, the value that I am going to input in the text input box here will be held by which variable? Some variable, whatever I am linking. I am linking a control with variable. You added a control in the UI. At the design time itself, you are telling the process command respect to system. This control should be linked to one variable. 10 controls I added, 10 variables I have. Each control you are mapping to the respective variable. At runtime, when you input the data in the control, the value will be taken by the variable which is mapped to that particular control. And database and all, you don't need to bother about it. These variables will give the data to database. That's it. This is what we are going to do practically. We are going to create UI forms. But before you create UI form itself, you should have variables in your hand or not. Okay, I'll tell you general information about variables in C language or Java or Python, anywhere. A variable holds a value at runtime. When you are integrating business logic programming language with HTML programming language, the variables will be linked to controls. You might have learned C language standalone. You might have learned Java standalone without integrating with UI. Okay, at the time of teaching you, your respective tutors would have given you a clear imagination in the reality how we use Java without teaching variable. Just you enter the data in UI of editor and getting the output. Without that, in your imagination, they would have given you an idea. This is how we will integrate HTML controls to Java, and then this is how it will be processed. As you are not learning HTML, only Java, but while imagining, you imagine with UI plus Java combinedly for your imagination, then it will be better, so that you would have learned better Java than what you have missed. Okay, but that is not happening in the market or even in the colleges. We can't do anything for that. But now see, but while you are learning a tool, it is very much possible. So you are going to create some UI, add the controls and map the controls to variables. Before you create UI itself, you should have variables ready or not? Yes or no? You should have variables ready, right? You have variables, then you create UI. First thing is you need to create what? Variables. Then finally you create, next level you create UI, add the controls, map to variables. Coming to a variable has a naming convention in general. Convention doesn't mean, like, there are certain limitations. A variable name should not start with underscore, plus, minus. This is not allowed. A variable name should not have spaces. It should be a continuous text. It can be anything meaningful. Generally, just for your information, a variable will be associated with data type. Means first name holds a value, correct? What type of value it holds? Text value, correct? Text or string, you can say anything. Age, what type of value it holds? Integer value. Okay. Currency, what type of value? Decimal value, right? Password, what type of value? Up focused, means stars and dots, like that. Even you enter text, it will be like stars and all. See, like this, there are certain data types. Data type of a variable defines what type of value it can hold. How do you know which type of value and all? It is a general knowledge usually. No one need to tell you age holds integer value. That is a basic thing in mathematics, correct? But there are some of the things you may not be getting idea, but you don't need to worry about it at all. When you are being given with the business requirement, clearly they will mention what is the data type, what is the name. You don't need to bother about giving your own names. You don't need to bother about what data type to be used. In the real business application development, it is very, very important. You have to come up with perfect names for the variables and a perfect data type for the variables. What is the reason? You cannot change the data type after you create and use it. It will be difficult. You cannot change it. For that, there is another concept called typecasting. That is a different thing. Leave it. So it is very much essential to go with data modeling. Okay, data modeling itself is wrong. Means starting points, basement is weak, then everything will be weak, right? In the building. So data modeling itself you are doing wrong. Data types and all you are wrongly created. It will impact entire application. So we should be cautious. So you need not too much worry about it. Your business should know clearly about what type of values to be held, what should be the app names to be used. Make sense? Now coming to Pega, the terminology of this variable is different. So we are going to start looking at PRPC related terminology now, equivalent to UI as well as what is this? Variables and all. A variable in Pega, you call it as property. What do you call it? So we are going to learn about properties, section, and tomorrow like flow, action, possibly today, and then flow. Always you will be learning about flow for sure. Anything UI business logic database, process or flow will be there for sure. Now property is the one which is equivalent to variable in other programming languages. Property is equal to naming terminology in Pega is property. That's it. There's nothing much. A property is equal to a variable in other programming languages. See here, property is just like a variable in other. You know what is a variable? It holds a value, and it holds values. It is associated with a name. There should be a name, right? If you're creating a variable, and a property type. It will be associated with what? Property. I told you data type, right? Data type means the type of value it can hold. Correct? For the same, in Pega, the terminology is different. In C language, Java, Python, it is called a data type. But in Pega, it is called as property type. Whether it can hold a text value, or it can hold a decimal value, or it can hold date value, date or currency value, like this, it is a type. When you go through this document, as of today, ignore this red color statement. Ignore the, see, in the document, 4 places you have red color statement written, but it should be written here only, in this document only. We will come back and read this statement after 10 days or 15 days or 20 days. Let's see. That time you will be able to understand. Maybe after 5 days at least. At this point in time, you, even if I explain this, you cannot understand. Ignore reading this statement for now. And now property, it can be created under data model category. Property can be created under which category? Data model. See, this statement tells you about the navigation. The statement what you are reading now, property can be created under data model category. Similar statements you will find in the downstream of this document. Section can be created under user interface category. Flow action can be created under process category. Something can be created under some category. Okay, this statement tells you about navigation. Property can be created under which category? Data model, which means that you'll be creating everything inside the classes, right? Inside this class, right click on this class. I want to create something. Create. What is the category? This is rule category menu. What do you call the second menu? Rule category. You are creating rules. Okay, in Pega, everything is the rule. Property, class application we created. Application is the rule. Operator ID created. Operator ID is the rule. Class is being created. Class is the rule. Property I am creating. Property is the rule. Everything in Pega is a rule. Understand? Rule category. This menu is categories menu. Property can be created under data model category. Create category data model, and you find property. Under data model category, is it only property we can create? No, there are so many things. Third menu. The third menu what you are seeing is called as rule type menu. What is that called as? Rule type. Rule category and rule type. This is just for your information. There are so many categories. There are so many types in each category. Okay. Property can be created under data model category, means that statement tells you about navigation. Everyone clear? This side. అటేటో చూస్తున్నారు, ఫాలో అవుతున్నారా? లేదంటే మీరిద్దరు ఇక్కడ కూడా రావచ్చు, ఇక్కడ నుంచి కూడా కనపడిద్ది. ఓకే, ఫర్ టుడే ఇట్ ఈస్ ఓకే. టెస్ట్. అండ్ నౌ వన్ మోర్ పాయింట్ ఐ విల్ టెల్ యూ. See, if I am creating any rule in Pega, that must be created inside some class. Yes or no? You create UI form, you create a business logic, you create database stuff, anything, it must be created. We already discussed. All the functional components will be there inside classes. Everything that you create inside class is already there inside application. This will also there in the application. Now, at the time of creating, you come across with this context. There are 3 parameters. Parameter 1, parameter 2, parameter 3. Third parameter we'll learn later. For a few days, you just blindly follow the documentation, screenshots. First 2 I'll explain you now. Whenever I am creating a property, system will ask me, in which application context you want to place this property. Means inside which application you wanted to place it. One question. Second one is, inside which application, which class you want to place it. In an application, can I have more than one class? Right? In my system, I have more than one application. So out of these 2 applications, LIC auto insurance, LIC insurance, which application you wanted to choose to create this inside class? There are many classes. Which class inside you want to create? First one is called application context. Second one context is class context. I want to create inside as per the chosen option. It's not ideal. Inside implementation application, inside implementation class group, work class. Inside implementation work class, inside implementation application. I am creating it. Third parameter I'll tell you later. Create and open. Okay, I am creating property. So this property gets created in the context of implementation application, inside implementation work class. Make sense? Everyone clear? Next, see, property type. What is the type of the property that you wanted to use? I told you, right? Like property type is like text value or integer value, decimal value. If you click on, by default, every property type is text. If you click on this link change, you'll see. If I want to choose it to be date, suppose I am creating date of birth. Date of birth, I want you to input in the UI. For that, I am creating property. Date of birth means which type? Date type. Only date. Do you need time to know about date of birth? Only date. See, let's say you begin a transaction. I want to know exactly when it was been begin, like what date and what time also. In detail, I want to know. Then what should be the type? Date and time.
Date
For
type.
date of birth, it is only date. Creation, it is date plus time. And decimal value. Maybe you are going to input some number of dollars. $10.05. $10.5, right? And double value is more than integer range, and integer is like age, property value, and text and all, you know. Encrypted is different. Password is also, like some cases you will find true false boolean. True false is called as boolean, meaning that, for example, I wanted to I want you to input in the UI just to say whether your vehicle has been insured in the past year or not. Insured or not? Yes or no, correct? It means either true or false. Insured means true, not insured means false. You will display it like a checkbox, small checkbox. Select the tick mark, then true, it is insured. You don't select it, it is false. Means you did not. Maybe if it is a brand new vehicle, you are a brand new vehicle. Will it be there? Will there be any insurance in the past? For that, what is the value of the respective property? False. If it is a used vehicle, means this is a third year since you bought it. Last 2 years you have already insured. You are renewing. Then past year insurance will be there. That time, what is the value? True. Past year of insurance is equal to true. Okay, like this, based on your business. See, your entire programming language that you learn anywhere in this world, any programming language, in support to business, if you are learning only, you will be able to learn best. If you are learning just a syntaxes, you don't know what you are doing, but you are doing. As a program, you are learning just for examination purpose. That is not a real learning. Always you think about real world business, any example, and then technology accordingly you have to apply. Then that is where you will be learning the best. Okay, property type is like a data type value, text, integer, like that, decimal. And at the time of creating property itself, Pega has a provision. How do you want to make it visible in the UI? Text import, radio button, drop down. That we can choose here itself. That we can choose here itself. Everyone clear? Online resources, online also. Everyone clear?
Yes.
Here itself in the UI, you can choose how do you want to make it. If I take this property in the section, how it will be visible? Like a text box. Text input means text box. Okay. Table type I'll tell you after some time, but I can tell you now itself if you want. Imagine this property is a gender property. Gender, I want it to be displayed as a radio button. For example, radio buttons. In this drop down, you have controls. Hold on, let it get populated. Radio buttons. I want to provide users in the UI 2 radio buttons with labels male, female. For that reason, you will go for local list and male. One more value. What is that? At runtime in the UI, this property, when it is visible, it looks like a radio button. What is radio button? This is radio button horizontal. Radio button 1, 2, 3. All these 3 belongs to gender property. How many labels are there? Male, female, prefer not to say, custom something. Understand? Like this, you want to display like a radio button. There you need a local list of values just to display for the customers to understand labels. That is what table type. Makes sense? Everyone clear? This is what about property. Just a high level. Makes sense? Everyone clear? When I say high level, in future again we revisit property and we will be learning more about it. Understand? Okay, so first thing is, whenever you want to design user interface, you should come up creating properties. Property is just like a variable in any other programming language. Property will have a name, it will be associated with a control, and it will be having some property type and all. And property is the one which is going to hold a value at runtime. Properties will be associated with, okay, main thing with respect to HTML control. Property will be associated with HTML control. Makes sense? It will be associated with HTML control. The value you enter in control will be taken by the property to which it is being associated. Makes sense? Everyone clear? And moreover, a property can be created under data model category that tells you the navigation. Right click on the class, go to create. You want to create, then the category menu comes. There you choose data model. Then type menu comes. There you choose property. Property can be created under which category? Data model category. Makes sense? After you are done with creating all the properties, what is the next level? Section. You create a section. See, I want to design user interface, right? In order to design user interface in Pega, you will be creating a role called section. What is the role type? Create user interface. At this moment of time, you don't need to remember about the navigations. Just follow me, that's it. Understand the concept. From this navigation, section can be created under user interface category. Section can be created under which category? User interface category. At the time of creating any role, it will have some name. Okay, some name. Don't bother about all the options or navigations that I am doing. Just focus on what I am going to teach you mainly. Section is a user interface role which can be used to design UI. Section is what role? Section is UI role used to design. Design what? User interface. Section is itself is a HTML rule. Section is a HTML equivalent to HTML coding. But here you are not coding. Where you design section, you create section to design user interface. Okay, you created. Next what? In a section, you have a layout. In general, I'll ask you. You know about okay, you take 1 acre of land. 1 acre of land. I wanted to build houses in the 1 acre land, multiple houses. What should I do first? What should I do? We have to make the divide the whole land of 1 acre into n number of plots. This dividing into plots, you are going to get a proper alignment structure, proper structure. Overall, this is called you are designing layout, right? Antena, you are designing what? Layout. So in the UI, you have HTML controls that should be aligned properly in an order, right? Maybe horizontal, vertical, n number of rows, n number of columns, like that. Usually in HTML programming, use table element. If you are aware of it, that is okay. If you are not aware of it, leave it. Table element is used to align. So whenever you are going to create UI, you need to deal with creating section. In a section, automatically by default, Pega provides a layout. A layout, one of the primary purpose of layout is to align the controls in a proper order. I'll show you now. So from here, you can add different controls. Just drag and drop. Drag here, drop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this, n number of controls I have added. How many columns are there in the UI? 1 column having how many rows? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows. I am going to go to the properties just for your information. Don't bother about navigations at all. Navigations is not something that you are learning now. Navigations you learn later. Only concept. Okay. Because after the class, you don't call me and tell me I did not get navigations while you're doing. You'll get it slowly later. Layout format stacked. I'm choosing inline grid double and submit. Layout structure changed or not? How many columns I got now? Inline grid double, 2 columns, n number of rows. Inline grid triple means 3 columns appearance business is asking you, n number of rows, then you will go for inline grid triple. Inline grid quadrant, then 4 columns. Inline grid, something like pentagon, something, penta, then 5. You can go beyond like this. Okay, it's up to you. There are different layout structures available. We will think about it later while practically working on it. So layout is going to make the alignment of the controls. Layout is going to make the alignment of the controls. Make sense, everyone? Clear? Everyone, last rows also. Am I audible if I am talking this direction to this? Is it coming from there? Okay, then fine. So layout is going to make the controls align. Is it only the purpose of layout? No, there are so many purposes. Primary is this one. We will be learning other things going forward. Make sense? Next, you will be adding the controls, right? You have to add the controls inside layout. Outside, if I drag and drop, is it coming? Inside, when you take it, like it will go ahead and appear like a saffron color, release it. Then I have added empty controls. Now what should I do? Link this control to property. Double click on the control and we link to the some property. It can be anything, depends on your business when you are creating some property. Now at runtime, if I enter a value in this control, the property associated will hold the value that will take and store in the database. Database storing will be done automatically. I'll tell you later. Okay. So this is overall about properties and section. Section can be created under user interface category. Section can be created under which category? User interface category. In a section, automatically by default, PRPC will give a layout. The layout makes the controls being aligned, and controls after you add into the layout of section map each control to the property. Understand? There is another approach. Okay, I'll tell you later, but this is one approach. Anyhow, so we discussed about properties and section. How many layouts are there? One layout. I'll show you. Let's say, for example, just look at here. I'll tell you little more information. Naukri sign up. Okay, Naukri is a job portal in India. This is so simple. IRCTC sign up. IRCTC. I'll tell you. I can teach you from this also. See here. Here you have this overall screen is one layer, one section, but two layouts are there. Just a high level until two layouts are aligned side by side. That is also possible. I'll tell you how to do it. Layout 1 displaying some information. Layout 2. Okay, I'll tell you this way. Otherwise, in the notepad also I can tell you. I'm creating one form where in the form I want to collect personal details. Some controls will be there under this, and the second place below that I want to collect employment details. Employment details, and below that employment details you'll enter. Below that I have details related to address details. Address details. In one form, how many sections are there? 3 different portions are there, right? Same form, one single form. Portion 1, portion 2, portion 3. Usually it can be 3 layouts. How many layouts? Each layout will have a specific header. Okay, everyone clear? You can segregate each section by section like that in a form. So in a section, you can have more than one layout. You can have more than one layout. Here outside, I can add one more layout. So this layout, I can mention it like, just for your information, don't bother about navigation. Again, I'm telling you. Personal detail, okay. Employment details. This layout is going to be personal details. Let's say for maybe up and down you have to add. This should be top. Personal details, and below employment details. Below that you can add one more layout, address details. Below that you can add maybe education details. Like this, a section can have more than one layout. You created section. See, in the registration forms here, you are seeing buttons, right? Register now. Maybe you will see submit. You see that? Usually means when you create a form, after the form fields are being added, at the end you might need a button. This button provides an action. What is the action? It will submit the form. It will submit the form to store the data into backend, and it will take the screen to next level. It will finish the particular screen and go to next level. After I finish this, maybe one more screen is there to finish. It will take me to the next level. Without clicking on register, is there any action going to be done? That is mandatory. And if you go to Facebook registration form, after you enter sign up will take you inside, correct? So for every form, you need a button. That is very universal. Okay, because you want to navigate, right? Or at least you want to store, even if you're navigating. This is called action button. What do you call this? Action button. In Pega, you design screen, but you don't need to add any action button. You don't need to add any action button. After I design my entire UI, this one, I am not going to add any action button. PRPC will automatically show up an action button, which has the feature, built-in feature of collecting the data, giving to variables and storing into tables, and taking the transaction to next level in the flow. All this will be done automatically by process command. Make sense, everyone? So this action button will be provided automatically by a rule called, what is the rule type? We discussed it so far about properties section. Next rule is flow action. What is that? Flow action. Flow action is a rule which will provide action button to the UI. Which will provide action button. But by default in Pega, it provides 3 buttons: submit, save, cancel. Cancel means I don't want to perform. I want to come out. Cancel. Save means temporarily you store it up to some temporary location. Submit means permanently you store it and move the transaction to the next level. Okay, makes sense? So see, after you create properties as a first step, you are done. Second step is to create section. Properties are done. Second step is to create what? Section. You create a section. So you add the controls inside section, map each control to respective property. 2 steps are done. Third step is what? Create flow action. What is that? Create flow action. Just look at here. Just hold on. Section is done. Flow action can be created under process category. Flow action can be created under which category? Process category. I am just trying to show you my flow action. Create and open. Under some class, some application you created. It asks about section. It asks about section. Just hold on. This is the place. So if you place the cursor here and click the down arrow, I created test section, right? That is showing up here. I can select this and then save it. Like this. From this, what we can understand is flow action is a container of section. Flow action is what? Container of section which adds an action to the UI. Section is UI, right? Flow action is the container of section which adds or allows us to perform an action on the UI at runtime. At what? Runtime. This is the design time. When I execute it, I'll say runtime. So at runtime, your flow action displays section, whatever you design, plus 3 buttons will be displayed. What are those? Submit, save, cancel. Submit you click, or save you click, cancel. Any button you click, you are performing an action. In a flow of transaction, you are performing an action by using a rule. That is called, what is the rule type? Flow action. Flow action. Everyone clear? A flow action, as of now the definition is, flow action is a container of section which allows business users to perform an action on the respective screen. Assignment flow screen means UI. Possible actions by default are submit, save, cancel. Next, what is the next one? 4th one. Flow. Next rule is flow. Everyone clear about property?
Harsha, I have one question.
Yes, what is the question?
So we have only these 3 flow action, or we have some customizable flow action as well?
Come again. I didn't get you.
So we have only these 3 flow action like submit, cancel, and save, or we can customize some other?
3 are not flow actions. Flow action is overall UI. I mean, like container of section which comes up with 3 buttons, 3 action buttons, not 3 flow actions. 3 action buttons. What are the buttons? Submit, save, cancel. I will show you in a minute. Just hold on once again. So properties, everyone clear? Section everyone clear? Basic high level purpose I told you. Flow action everyone clear so far? I'll show you practically. Flow can be created under process category. Flow action you create under process category. Flow also you create under which category? Process category. Flow, name of the flow, let's say any name. Okay, any name. When you create a flow is used to design the transaction model, to define or design the transaction model step by step. A flow defines step-by-step transaction model. When you create a flow, by default, you will be getting three flow shapes. You'll be getting three flow shapes. First one, start. Second one, what is the second one? I'm sorry, the last one. First one is start shape. Last one is end shape. In between, this flow shape is called assignment shape. This is called as assignment shape. You can access all the flow shapes from the palette. This is palette of flow shapes. There are so many. We'll be learning. Otherwise, this is called as assignment shape. A transaction begins at start shape. A transaction ends or finishes or completed at end shape. In between, there can be n number of flow shapes. Transaction begin step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. N number can be there. Okay, I can add more. I'll connect accordingly. How many steps are there in between? 2, including start and 4 steps are. You remember, if you watch a demo video, multi-step transaction, right? BPM defines multi-step. This is what multi-step means. Step 1, start. Step 2, assignment. Step 3, assignment or anything else. Step 4, assignment or anything else. Any step can be possible. I can add n number of steps like this. Understand? After all 3 steps are completed, it will go to end. When it reaches end, transaction is finished or completed. Start shape, end shape, in between n number of steps. Now we need to discuss about the default. By default, we will be getting what? Assignment shape, right? So assignment shape purpose. The purpose of assignment shape is to display user interface at runtime. You want to display at runtime only, right? So I will double click on the outward connector of assignment shape usually, and I'll be calling flow action in the assignment shape outward connector. So you created properties first thing, and then you created section. You added controls in the section, map it to properties, correct? Properties you created, added properties into section. Section after you created flow action, added section into flow action. Flow action after you are creating flow, adding flow action into flow, where flow action you will be calling into flow in the assignment shape outward connector. In the assignment shape outward connector, you have option of flow action, but you go to inward connector. Do you have any flow action option? So that is how Pega is designed. There is no question why it cannot be called in inward. Pega system design is like you can call a flow action in the assignment shapes outward connector. That's it. You call it. And after that, I'm going to perform some steps. You don't bother about what are these steps. I will show you our screen what we have created. Okay. My intention is to show you submit and save cancel buttons. First screen you ignore, but default screen you ignore. I'll tell you. I'll show you the other one. Again, they came back to create button. Like I will change. Sorry. Just hold on. Let this get finished and it will display our screen. Our screen is this one. You can recognize updated case ID, something is there, right? That updated case ID is there. Other fields are there. I did not map it to properties, leave it. But our intention is to focus on cancel, save, and submit. How these 3 buttons are coming? See, in the design of my section, do I have any 3 buttons? Then how these 3 buttons are coming? By flow action. Flow, the one who has asked a question online, closely focus here. Submit, save, cancel. Flow action is container of section which allows business users to perform an action on the UI by displaying the buttons. submit, save, cancel. These buttons are coming by, given by what? Flow action. This portion is given by section. This portion by section. This portion by buttons portion by flow action, right? So now anytime if you are being given with a requirement to deal with creating UI, first thing is basic template. I'm talking about basic template. First thing is you need to create properties. Complete it, create section, add the properties into controls of section. Then create flow action, call the section into flow action. Completed, create flow with at least one assignment. Call the flow action into flow by using assignment shapes outward connector. Completed. Next you run the flow. That is what making transaction. As a developer, I'm able to see the flow and run the flow. Business users, they don't see like this. You will display at one place only name of the flow. They will click on the name of the flow, transaction will get started. They will not see like design and all. Design will be displayed only to developers. Business user perspective, I'll show you later. Make sense, everyone? Clear? So this is a basic idea about basic rules in Pega as of now. What are the basic rules in Pega as of now? Property, section, flow action, flow. While you go through the document, you'll be reading about all the points which we have discussed today. Entire document, when you read, it's not you read and remember. You should understand each one, its purpose. Imagine different requirements, different examples. Practical, I'll show you tomorrow morning. Okay, tomorrow we do practical on what we have learned today. So by tomorrow, everyone should have your laptop ready with Pega, but not in the classroom. But offline resources, online resources, you do practice after the session anytime based on your free time on the same day. But offline resources, what about you? You have to sit back here and practice. How many of you are working employees? It is up to you. It is optional for you because you have to go to office and all. You cannot stay back. Other resources, freshers and unemployed resources. Stay back here and practice. I'll divide all of you into different groups. Five people under one team. Apart from the requirement that we are doing here, I will post more requirements. You have to go through that requirement and finish. Okay. Whoever is better performing in the team, I'll consider them as a lead to be responsible for your entire team's output. Okay. Everyone clear? Let's see how many of you are going to do it. And how many of you wanted to stay back for the practice and all? Just raise your hands so that I'll come to know. Not staying back only for today. If you are regular, be regular. Otherwise, you don't stay back at all. If you are there tomorrow, you should be there forever till the end of the training. That is okay. And I will assign a coordinator also. Okay, they will guide you and help you. Okay, even for online also. Online, I told you already, we will divide into multiple groups. Today, you'll be receiving that links. When I send that message, you'll be able to easily understand from the message which group you have to join, because you do not have a provision of messaging in our regular groups now, right? Only admins can send messages in our main groups. I'll create other groups and give you the links to join. You can join them. Do not join two groups at a time. You should never belong to two groups. Okay. And what is the document I have to share you? Just hold on. See, there are few people who did not receive email on Friday. How many of you did not receive? One offline. And online, how many of you did not receive? Just respond. See, respond with your mail ID here. Whoever did not receive the email, because after the completion of 10 o'clock class is done, I will add you to the group. Online, everyone, you have already responded on chatting. I mean, like in WhatsApp, I know, but still I want you to respond now. Your email, whoever did not receive mails on Friday, see, you should check your spam folder, all mails, promotions. It should be there in one of those folders for sure. After you add my mail ID in the contacts, it will come to your inbox usually. 1, 2, 3, these many people that did not receive documents. Maybe you did not thoroughly verify it. Did you fill the form? Guys who are responding, see, it is very simple. If you have filled the form, you should have got it. It is only 100% confirm you did not verify your mailbox. That's it. There is no other go. There is no way we will be missing to take the mail IDs by the time when we have done it. There's no way we'll be missing to take the mail IDs from the form. Maybe you filled it a little bit late after I sent email, or maybe you missed to verify the mailbox. Okay, I'll take all these emails at 10:30. I will send you these documents. For now, I'll be sending to those, and 10:30 remaining people will receive, and from tomorrow everyone will receive 590 4. Pega Class, June, right? June 13, 594. What is the document? And there are multiple things you will be receiving from us today, maybe at 12 o'clock like that. Audio recordings, video sharing message. Only today you'll get share message. Tomorrow onwards, you don't need to do, you will not receive. Directly go to your Google Drive, whatever that you are using, shared with me, you'll have there. That's why I'm asking you to share your Google Drive link for me. Properties, where is it? This is the document. Anything else I have to attach apart from theory document? Only theory document, right, for today? Okay, all of you should have received except those who have missed. Those who have missed last Friday and today's document plus Friday everything, you'll be receiving at 11 o'clock. Okay, at 11 o'clock every one of you will be receiving this, maybe 1 o'clock, I'm sorry, because this audio video should be converted, uploaded, added access. It will take time. Every day by 1 p.m. mostly it will be there. You'll be receiving one email. Make sense? Okay, fine. You can wind up for today. We'll continue tomorrow. I'll take up your queries tomorrow. Thank you for joining.